I found the easiest way to become profitable trading crypto futures. After blowing up multiple trading accounts throughout my career, trying every complicated strategy out there, I finally discovered something that changed everything. There's one ridiculously simple pattern that shows up in Bitcoin futures contracts every single day. And when I started focusing on just this one thing, I went from losing money to multiple double and triple digit gains almost every day, finally having financial freedom and location freedom. Very important. Not to mention, my best students are pulling six figures using this exact same strategy in less than 4 hours per week. So in this video, I'm breaking down the easiest way that I've found to become profitable trading crypto futures and how you can start today. So why most traders overcomplicate everything. So I'm going to explain to you, how I blew up accounts by having so many indicators, so many charts, so many different, I had 6 screens going on at once. I had every possible indicator you can imagine just because it looked cool, really. But most of them, you don't even know what they're about. You don't know what they're for. You don't really understand them all, right? This is what new traders do. But after a while, you start to know which ones are actually helping you. For instance, the RSI and the stochastic RSI on the weekly time frame are really the only ones that I use now. I don't care about anything else. Sometimes I'll look at the MACD, but it's always on the higher time frames. Now, these trade setups that we use consistently will eliminate probably 80% of your over trading, because this is the problem most traders have. They'll come into the market, they'll start chasing trades, they see the price going up, they go long. They see it going down, oh my God, I'm going to go short. Or they're in a long position, it starts to go down and they get out and cut their loss. Or they reverse their position. And then as soon as they do that, it goes back up in the direction that they wanted it to go to begin with. This is the problem that most traders face. And so after trading for almost 20 years now, you start to learn and you start to become more patient. You start to quiet your mind down and you start to realize that it's not the amount of trades that you do that make you the money. It's entering at the right time and at the right location on the chart. Now, what does that mean? What we do is we wait for proper trade setup. I know it sounds simple. I know that sounds like what you should do, right? But if you see the price dropping or consolidating or going sideways for a while, that is not a place to enter. If you're in the middle of a tight channel and it's going up and down and hitting the top and hitting the bottom, that's not a place to enter. Now, you might say, well, I could scalp that. I could go long when it hits the bottom and go short when it hits the top, but you never know when it's about to break out. So what we do is we wait for the breakout. We trade something called apex breakouts, and proper trade setups is basically what it's called. And so what we're doing is we're waiting for the proper trade setup. This happens usually at least once a day, sometimes more than once a day, but rather than going in and out and chasing trades, we wait for these trade setups. And we're going to show you how to do that here. So I see a lot of people just over trading. Most of my students, when they come into this market and they want to learn how to do this, the first mistakes they have is over trading. I know I've said that like 5 times so far. I just want you to understand this, because when you start to trade less, you start to make more. I know it sounds counterintuitive. It sounds, opposite of what you should be doing, but I would rather personally trade 1 trade a day and make triple digit gains and multiple thousands of dollars on that one trade, rather than trade 5, 6, 7 in and out positions a day, constantly chewing my nails, waiting for the trade to do what I want it to do, just to barely eke out maybe the same profit, probably less, and maybe even lose some on the losers. No need for any of that. So when you understand how to do things the right way, you're going to trade less and you're going to make more. Also, when we get into an apex, what's happening is the price is consolidating. It is winding into an apex. An apex is where the ceiling or the resistance is going down, while the floor, which is the support, is going up. They're coming into a corner. They're coming into a point. And usually the breakout happens 70% of the way through to the point, right? Now, when that breakout happens, it's like a spring winding up, and we usually get a nice breakout, a nice pop from that apex. It's better to wait for that than to anticipate or try to prejudge which way it's going to go. A lot of people ask me, Niko, is it going to go up from here or down from here? I don't try to predict that. What I do is I trade after it does what we want it to do. In other words, we're not trying to predict what's about to happen. What we're doing is we're reacting to what is happening. So as soon as it breaks out, retest, we're entering the position long. If it breaks to the bottom of the apex and retest, we're entering the position short. Okay, but we're also putting tight stop losses in the apex or above the apex if we're going short, or in the apex or below the apex if we're going long. It's so simple that once you see it done, then you'll understand. And I highly recommend that you do see it done before you try to do this on your own. In fact, you're going to see a link below this video, the very first link. That is for an upcoming training that we're going to be doing live, where I will train trade live, I will share my screen live and I will give you these examples and show you exactly what we're looking for. And I will be trading live right in front of your eyes, hopefully making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars while you're watching. You will be able to see exactly how this is done. Now, because of this, in our group, we technically have about a 70 to 80% win ratio focusing on just this one pattern. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's an extremely high win ratio. It's not that difficult, actually. You could make a lot more money even on a 50 to 60% win ratio. It doesn't really matter because what we use is proper risk management. Usually anywhere from a 4-to-1 to as high as a 10-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So, even if you're only winning 50% of the time and on your losers, you lose $100, but on your winners, you make $1,000, you are still only losing $500 out of 10 trades and you're making $5,000 out of those 10 trades. Take the $500 out, you're netting $4,500 on every 10 trades. That's not too bad, even at a 50% win ratio. But we've gotten our win ratio up quite a bit because what we do is as soon as the trade does or starts to do what we want it to do and it starts to go into profit, we move our stop loss to break even and then we edge our stop loss into profit as it continues to go into profit, thus minimizing the risk of loss to zero, basically, because we are in a no-lose trade. Now, no matter what happens on this trade, it either is going to go up and hit our take profit target or it's going to come down and hit our stop loss. Either way, we get taken out in profit because we've moved our stop loss into profit. So this is a no-lose position to be in, and that's why our win ratio is high. It doesn't necessarily have to always hit our take profit target. The take profit targets that we set are usually front-running the next resistance level, or if it's a short, we're front-running the next support level. We do that as kind of a placemat of where we think it might go. But anytime on the way down to the take profit target or on the way up to the take profit target, we can close that trade out in profit anytime. And we encourage our members to do that. I would rather you become a consistently profitable trader than to wait for it to do something and then have it come back down and hit your stop loss. So once you understand these simple strategies, you will be more at ease. You're not going to be over trading. You're not going to be constantly chasing trades, getting in when it's pumping, getting in when it's dumping, and then getting what we call cut by the knife. You never try to catch a falling knife. That's the old saying. So if it's already made a big move, just wait for the bounce. You don't try to get in it on that big move. So if you want to see me identify these exact wedge setups in real time and learn my crypto wormhole timing method, I'm doing a free live training this week where I'll walk you through actual chart examples and trade live right in front of your eyes. Hit the first link in the description to save your spot. So why this beats complicated trading systems is simple, okay? Our members are trained to trade less than 4 hours a week. We don't want you over trading, we don't want you complicating things, and we don't want you staring at charts all day. What we want to do is walk you through proper risk management so that you're never risking more than you can afford to lose on the trade, okay? The fewer the trades, the higher the probability of returns. And this is very simple because if you're over trading, you might have a couple winners and you might give it all back on some of the losers. And we'd rather you just have 1 or 2 winners a day and call it a day, wait for the next proper trade setup. When you get on the live masterclass, I'm going to show you how to start with this one pattern and how to set this up and start today. I'm going to explain to you all you need to know. I'm going to share my screen on the trading platform that I use, which happens to be Phemex. You can use any trading platform of your choice, but be careful. You got to make sure they're legitimate. On our live masterclass, we're going to share the top 5 or 6 trading platforms that are out there. I prefer Phemex. There's also a link below this video under the first link that gives you basically a nice bonus just for using that link, up to 30,000 USDT if you use our referral link for Phemex. This is our trading platform of choice. We've used and tried all of them. We've tested all of them. We've settled on Phemex. They are the best customer support, customer service, and just the ease of use. So check out the link below for that and get your account set up. Try to be set up before the live masterclass and we'll watch us trade live, and you can actually take the trades live with us on the live masterclass. What I just explained to you shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. And so when you understand this, get on our live calls. I'll make sure that you understand exactly what to look for. Now, the difference between traders who make it and those who blow up their accounts doesn't come down to intelligence or experience. They just know when to keep things simple. I've watched students transform their finances by focusing on this one wedge pattern instead of trying to learn every strategy on YouTube. So stop making this harder than it needs to be. Master one thing, execute it consistently, and let the profits compound. Now, if you want to see me break down these wage setups and learn my exact crypto wormhole method, I'm hosting a free training this week. Click the first link in the description to grab your spot, and I'll see you there.